Good day, student. How are you doing today? Our topic today is triads. The learning objective for today, at the end of today's lesson, should be able to define triads and should be able to identify triads of each measures of the scale and should be able to write triads on the staff in a correct way. So listen very well, attentively, so that I can be able to grab the best. As I told you that our topic today is triads. What is triad? In a plain language, anything triad is talking about trio, three people singing together, triangle, triangle, triplets, three things. But back to music now. What is triad in music? A triad consists of three notes built on the first, third, and fifth. A triad is a chord constructed with three notes. When in root position, the root note is on the bottom. The root note means the starting one, the one at the bottom. And each note is a third away from the last. If you look at the keyboard on your screen, you see the first note, which is C, number 1. And the third note is E, which is number 3. And the next one is G. I want to look into 4 aspects of triad. We have 4 types of triad: major triad, minor triad, augmented triad, and diminished triad. Now let's move to the major triad. The major triad, as I told you, consists of 3 notes and have 4 semitones. 4 semitones, 3 notes. To create a major triad, simply start the first, third, and fifth notes of a major scale. And the most basic chord is called a triad. There are 4 possible triads: major, minor, augmented, diminished. The major one, root, third, and fifth. That root stands for starting point, which is number 1, number 3, and number 5. Minor, number 1, number 3 of the minor will be flattened by flat sign. So it means that it's already reduced by a semitone. So that is the difference between minor and major. Major have 4 semitones, while minor 3 semitones. Augmented, the starting point, which is root, third, and the fifth. The fifth will be sharpened, raised by sharp sign. Diminished, root, the third one will be flattened, and the fifth one will be sharp. Now, the second one, which is minor triad. Minor triads are constructed in the same fashion as major triad. As I told you before, only based on the minor scale. To construct the minor triad, take the first, which is number 1, the root, the third, and the fifth notes of the scale. and you end up with the minor triad. That is what makes the difference between major triad and minor triad. You put a flat on the third note, which is the fifth. Number one, that is root. Number two, number three, the fifth one, you put flat on it. You can see the screen that's on the board. On the minor third, you see the flat there. So it reduces the semitone of the major from 4 to 3. That is what makes it minor triad. We have D major triad, D minor triad, G minor triad, B flat minor triad, and C minor triad. In non-major scale, we have their minor. As I told you before, that all the major scale have their relative minor. Now let's move to the third one, augmented. The augmented, we always put sharp the fifth note. Sharpen the fifth note, that is raise it by a semitone. Instead of 7th semitone, it will now turn to 8th semitone. That is for the augmented triad. And the starting, which is root, will stand alone. The third note will stand, but the fifth will be sharpened. As I told you, an augmented triad is a major third on top of another major third. So basically, you can take a major triad and raise the fifth note by a half step to get the augmented version. That you use sharp sign to raise the fifth note, so that you can be able to get the sharp sign. If you look at the string that is on the step that is on the screen, you will discover that the second note sharpen, while the last note also sharpen. So it raises it. And I told you, whenever we are having intervals, that augmented always occur when major and minor increase by semitone. And it increase by putting sharp on the third note, which is fifth one, to raise it by a semitone. It will now increase the number of the semitone. Let's move to the last one, which is diminished intervals. A diminished triad has a discordant sound to it. It built using two minor third. On the staff that's on the screen, the roots stand alone, the third stand alone, but the fifth reduced by using the flat sign. For the G diminished triads, you can see the letter on G is open, no sharp, no flatting. The B flat that is there is already flattened, and D is already flattened by flat. If you are going to play it on keyboard, you strike the first note on key G, which is white key. Now, The third note, you play it on the black key, the middle black key among the three black keys. That is what is going to give you B flat. While the third one, which is D, you are not going to play it on the white key. You play it black key after at the back of D. The one that you can call C sharp or D flat. You strike it there. That is what is going to give you diminished triads. Now, if you look at the D triad also, the first note open, while the second one flatting, and the third one you will reduce it by flat sign also. So I bring you back to the definition that a triad consists of three notes built on first, third, and fifth. A triad is a chord constructed with three notes. If the first note is on the line, the second note will be on the upper line and third note on the upper line. If the first note is on the space, it means that the rest of the note will be on the space. Thank you. This assignment for you. Give me definition of triad in music and how many notes are required to make a triad. Thank you very much. Stay safe.